And we're live. Hello, everyone, and good morning for those of you that's morning, such as myself. I'm your host, as usual, Adventurer and Dungeon Master Vibe, and I'm here today to finally do something I've been saying I was going to do for a while, which is tell you guys some stories. I know it's a bit early. Usually we don't stream this early, and I'm sure most people are probably still rousing themselves in bed, but it's like, you know, I'm usually a bit more of a morning person, I guess I'd say. I try to get a lot of stuff done in the morning. And this particular time around, I was just like, man, I feel like I got some extra time this morning. I should just go ahead and do that. So, same as usual, I'll be streaming it here, and then I'll be uploading it on YouTube shortly after. Stream's gonna be a little bit quiet because I don't really have a BGM or anything like that. But so, maybe in the future, when I do stuff like this, I'll have some background music to kind of fill the void. But for now, you just have to listen to me, I suppose. So, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna tell you guys about the adventure I've been running for my friends. So, this is an adventure I've been calling Heroes of the Frontier. It takes place in a place called Firan, a continent that, prior to the start of our adventure, was long since host to a great war between the two nations residing on the continent. To the west, you had the matriarchy of Adaya, who were kind of just modeled after more your standard sort of, European medieval fantasy types. And then to the east, you had the shogunate of Orathir, which is more based off of like sort of your fantasized, like samurai and all that sort of stuff. So these two nations were at war for years and years, centuries, even before they finally brought the war to a stop at the appearance of a mutual enemy, an ancient and extremely powerful being known only to the people as the Witch Queen. So this takes place sometime after that. The Witch Queen has been defeated, and now the two nations, holding a very tentative peace, now work together to try to conquer the northern lands, known only as the Frontier, the lands from which the Witch Queen and her terrible beasties came from. So, our story follows three adventurers. Ragnar, a dwarf from Medaya, who died on the battlefield, but was reincarnated by an old druid friend, and now has the body of a minotaur. He does not mind the change, as it actually made it quite easy for him to separate from his old life of war, and now pursue his true passion of deciphering and finding ancient runes, which he hopes to do on the frontier. We also have Rob, a half-orc who was born of an orc war chief from Medaya, and a Orathir soldier. His father is no longer around, said to have died in battle. But he was raised by his mother in Orathir. He has come now as a cleric of order to help the people regain peace within these lands. And last but not least, we have Sitaquin, a ninja from the northern lands of Orathir, trained in blade singing, who has now traveled to the frontier town of New Hope, along with the others, to kind of separate themselves from the old life after a particularly rough mission left them on a bit of the bad side of her superiors. Excuse me while I take a drink. Got some tea this morning. Gotta have your morning tea. Love morning tea. So, the party arrives in the frontier city known as New Hope. Once there, they arrive at the guild hall of the Recreation Guild, the sort of neutral party that was placed in charge of founding the frontier city of New Hope. There, they meet with their guild advisor, a half-elven woman named Celine. She basically gives them the rundown of how the guild works. Oh, hello. See the tea under my mic? Yep, it's right there. See my tea there? Yeah. Where was I? Right, so they speak with their guild advisor, a half-elven woman named Celine, who gives them a rundown of how the guild works. Basically, they're free to take whatever jobs are offered to the guild, so which the guild basically just kind of filters out all the weird, probably illegal stuff and just kind of leaves it to things around monster slaying and exploring the regions of the frontier. The party is allowed to speak with the clients, and upon speaking to them, decide to take the first job from a young girl named Dash, who seems to have issues speaking common, but the party doesn't mind it, and pretty much immediately he likes the girl quite a bit. They take the job to retrieve her mother's ring, which was apparently stolen by some thieves. So, with the information in hand, the party travels down to the slums of the city known as the Drain. Once there, they meet an elven gentleman by the name of Finadir, who seems to be in a bit of a spat with a local gang leader. The party says they'll help him deal with this disagreement in exchange for him showing them around the streets and helping them find their missing ring. He leads them to the gang leader, a rough man by the name of Belfast, and his gang of ruffians. They talk it out a little bit, but the man is a bit difficult to speak with, so they pretty quickly come down to a fight. Nobody is killed, of course, and the party pretty handily mops the floor with them. After they defeat them, they actually discover Belfast is the very one who stole the ring, but has already sold it off to a Finns, who had contact with a certain individual who had particular interest in obtaining this ring. The party is unsure why somebody would have any such interest in a little girl's ring, but they continue to follow the lead, as this is their job. So, with that, they travel out of the city and into the frontier, taking their first steps into the wild and untamed wilderness. Let's see. After a day of travel, and then another half day of travel through some torrential downpours, the party finds a bandits' camp sitting on the frontier. The party sneaks in under the cover of the rain, and, donning some disguises, manage to charm and trick the leader into hiring the party as escorts to deliver a message to the leader of the bandits, a mysterious man known only as the Martyr. As the party journeys with the now guide, the bandits lead them to the base. Along the way, however, they encounter a group of dryads who seem to be not on the best terms with these bandits, and in the midst of the fight, actually kills the party's guide. They manage to find the guide's map, however, and get to the bandits' camp on their own. Once they reach the hideout, they find the bandits camped out in some ancient ruins. The floors and walls covered in various symbols that they are able to figure out is thieves' cant, though as none of them are trained in the reading of this coded language, they're not able to decipher what they mean. Though a certain mishap with Siliquin does reveal that they mark various traps around the place, and they almost blows the party's cover when she trips one. Luckily, they're able to play it off, and they manage to maintain their cover. While Siliquin sneaks around looking for supplies in the ring, Rob and Ragnar go into a meeting along with the other bandits to meet with their quote-unquote boss, the Martyr. The Martyr reveals that he and his allies, though he does not go into detail who these individuals are, have the preparations ready to march upon the city of New Hope to find a certain somebody. The party doesn't know who this is, but do know that this Martyr has the ring they need. And so, when the Martyr spots the two and realizes that they are fakes and not any of his men, a fight breaks out. It's a long and hard fight, but the Martyr, wishing to spare his men as the bloodshed begins to look to be him on the losing side, decides to surrender, and the party even lets him go in exchange for returning the ring, which he does happily. The party then leaves the bandits' camp, but now, missing no guide, they find themselves a bit lost on the frontier, and within a day have wandered far off the beaten path. They actually remain lost for several days before they run into a Hydra. The Hydra, luckily, is quite young and at the moment only has a single head, making fighting it somewhat easier, but it still almost claims the life of both Citiquin and Ragnar. Luckily, they are victorious and gain quite a bit of experience, I have to say, for beating such difficult creatures so early in the game. Good for them. As the party finally arrives back in town, they meet up with their advisor Selene, who then informs them that the information they have about this individual named the Martyr actually is in fact an old war hero turned traitor who during the final days of the wars actually sided with the Witch Queen. In exchange for turning in the information, the party actually gets several hefty bonus and now has an open bounty out on the Martyr. Afterwards, they then go to return the ring to Dash, who is incredibly grateful and even gives Citiquin a free fortune reading. The fortune depicts that the party will soon encounter some great changes, but these changes could very well bring about great ruin as well. The party's not sure what any of that means, but decide to carry on for the time being. As they finish up the talk with Dash, she insists that they speak with her friends / guardians, though guardians is a very rough term for these two. A pair of twins known only as Raven and Crow. These strange and eccentric individuals wear masks that obscure their faces, so the party doesn't really know what they actually look like. But the two seem to be of some sort of magical persuasion, and seems to have more information about Dash and her ring than they wish to disclose, as despite the party's prodding and questions, they refuse to tell them much other than that Dash's mother was an old acquaintance of theirs and also trained in the magical arts. Additionally, they tell them that if they can actually find the rest of her rings, that they will not only reward the party for every item they found with gold, they will also reward them with magical items. The party is still skeptical of these two, but wishing to help out Dash, agreed to the long-term contract. The party spends the rest of the days and he's exploring the city, as they'd yet to really have much time to do so, finding a magic shop by the name of Mia's Little Shop of Horrors, and its money-grubbing proprietress, I guess, whatever. As well as find a new haunt in a certain tavern by the name of the Mistress Muse. There, they once again run into Finnedir, the elven bandit they had met on the first day in the city. Finnedir explains that after meeting up the party, he decided to give the adventuring guild a shot himself, and actually negotiates becoming a party member of their party. Hold on, I'm taking another drink. My mouth's getting dry and tongue-tied. I need to pace myself more. Not like I'm in a race here or anything. Where was I? Right, so Finnedir also explains to them that he's actually working on a small starter contract with the guild. Rather simple one, in fact. It would seem the Mistress Muse is in need of some musical talent to help bring in the customers, as it is a rather new establishment, and in a city full of adventurers has no shortage of competition in the means of bars and taverns. So the party then goes on to do the only rational thing, and host a musical competition to decide who would be the musician for the tavern. The party acting as the judges. They go through a number of interesting and talented individuals, but decide on a young shamisen player from Orthir by the name of Kira. With the music decided, and the party now having free stay at the tavern for a couple days, they sleep and wait for their next job. Come the next day, the party is informed that there is to be a festival, as the princess from Medaya and prince from Orthir are to be arriving in the city that day, and from then on will be taking taking over as sort of the leaders of the establishment, as alongside the leaders of the Recreation Guild. Sort of known to everyone that surely what the people hope for is perhaps a wedding between the two in hopes of a longer standing peace between the nations, but that is yet to be decided, and for the time being, the party takes place in the various festivities. Ragnar takes place in a fighting tournament in the Ortheo district of the city, and city known as the Tranquil Quarter is what that area is called. I'm sorry, I forgot to scroll down on my notes. Yeah, so he takes place in a fighting tournament, while Rob, accompanied by Finnedir, goes and joins the jousting tournament over in the Queen's Quarter, which is essentially the Radaya hosted portion of the city. Rob unfortunately loses in his first round of the tournament, but does meet up with another adventurer from the guild, a knightly individual, and talks him up a little bit. Meanwhile, Ragnar, accompanied by Sitterquin, and fights his way throughout the day in the tournament, taking win after win, all the way up to fighting off against the tournament's champion, one of the prince's personal guards. Even against this individual, Ragnar is victorious, earning himself quite a bit of recognition from all those in attendance. As between this and the party's previous exploits of exploring so much of the frontier on the first day in the city, began to really build up a reputation. By this time, it is announced that the prince and princess are arriving, and the party returns to the central district of the city to watch the parade progression. As the party watches along with the crowd, they see the what's what I'm looking for? Procession. That's the word. They see the procession. They see the procession of the prince and princess entering from either side of the city. However, as they do, explosions hit the streets on either side, separating the prince and the princess from their guards. And who do they see walking down the street, the cause of this attack, but the martyr himself and his gang of bandits? The party immediately leaps into action and battles long and hard with the martyr and his men, and who are attempting to kidnap the prince and princess. The party bests them, not only capturing the martyr and his men, but saving the royalty. Of course, Ragnar, in the fight, crushes the martyr's head and believes him dead, but when men from the Inquisition take the body away, the party suspects that their troubles with him aren't quite over yet. The day after the attack, the party is out helping clean up the wreckage from the previous day. During said efforts, Sitterquin receives a letter from one Pingan Civis of Gyjut, a city-state on the northern edges of Orthir, who separated from the rest of the nation some time ago. She recognizes the name of a powerful and very prominent merchant from the region. The letter informs her that they are looking for certain items out on the frontier, stone tablets of untold origin and purpose, but in exchange for retrieving these tablets, they inform them that they are not only holding an old partner of Sitterquin, the very partner that she unfortunately had to leave behind when a job in her background went bad, but that they will return said partner in exchange for these tablets. Sitterquin decides to keep this from the party for now, unsure of how to handle the situation. Shortly after this, the party is called by none other than the Princess of Radaya herself to thank them for their efforts. So they come to the Radaya embassy, there where they meet with the princess, Sith Mather. The party is unable to see her face as her regal attire actually is made to obscure her entire appearance, including a long veil that covers her face. The party finds this a little suspicious, but who are they to question their cultures? After receiving the reward, they are actually asked by the head inquisitor to speak with the martyr, who informs them that the martyr is actually under the effects of a curse placed upon him by the Witch Queen that makes him able to, even from death, regenerate within 24 hours. It would seem he has already done so, and now sits in the dungeons, and refuses to speak with anyone other than the party. So the party is allowed to speak with him. During the conversation, he reveals that he actually has knowledge that Ragnar is after. Ragnar, when he was resurrected by his druid friend, was given a note. This note was written in old runes that he has yet to be able to decipher. And, of course, he's unable to ask his friend, as he has long since disappeared. The martyr informs him that his employer knows those runes and could decipher it for him. It seems pretty clear to them that this is some sort of trap or bait. Well, I guess a bait leads you to trap, so it's the same thing, really. But the party makes a rather interesting decision, and they decide to break the martyr out of prison. So, during the day, the party prepares themselves to take a long trek across the frontier, purchasing horses, a carriage, supplies, and, upon speaking with Finnedir and Selene, discover that their guild advisor Selene is actually skilled in providing magical tattoos. And so the party goes and gets tattoos together, which was rather fun. So, they out with magical tattoos and supplies for days. That night, Ragnar, donning a disguise, and Sitterquin doing the same, managed to sneak their way back into the embassy and into the dungeons. Well, through a mixture of charm spells and quick-wittedness, managed to sneak the martyr out of prison, and then escort him across the frontier. However, the martyr, it would seem, is not so interested in being a very agreeable captive, and a near day into their trip, releases a strange mist from his body in the night that seems to enter and possess Ragnar. As the martyr tries to make his escape, the creature possessing Ragnar stands and fights against the party. As the party manages to knock Ragnar unconscious, the creature is forced out of its body, revealing some strange apparition I'm getting all tongue-tied. My mouth's dry. Sorry, guys. So, this apparition appears, this terrible, nightmarish creature adorned with a bunch of screaming faces and strange tentacle-like appendages, is forced out of his body and attacks them. The party manages to slay this creature, and must now discuss if they should chase after the martyr, or attempt to simply arrive at this meeting he's going to on their own. The party decides that, as they are not very well rested themselves, but have all the horses and the martyrs on foot, it'll be easy enough for them to track him down in their own time, and decide to simply follow his footsteps and arrive at this new base of theirs in their own time. As the party travels, they actually come upon a group of orcs. Rob, the resident half-orc, speaks with them and reveals his family name of Gashna, who these orcs actually recognize, and reveal that they actually have a mutual destination in the base that the martyr is heading to. The party is suspicious of this, but decide to travel with them as safety in numbers and all that. As the party travels along, they discover the leader of these orcs is named Org Grotag, and along the way, Rob discovers that he works for a certain warlord by the name of there's lots of names in this. One moment. Where are my notes? Turg. Turg is his name. That he works for a certain warlord named Turg the Wise, and Turg the Wise also knew Rob's father. Rob now quite intrigued by this, tries his best to stay on the orcs' good side and as they travel. Once they arrive at the base, they discover this massive fort that has been taken over by hobgoblins. The hobgoblins are not hostile towards the party, however, as when they arrive, they explain that they are actually being welcomed in as guests of the martyr, who the hobgoblins refer to as the Thumb. The party is led into the base and is met with this massive gathering of a variety of individuals. There, they see the martyr leading his band of soldiers and bandits. Alongside him, they see a group of hobgoblins led by an individual referred to as Littlefinger. Additionally, though, they see an armored individual leading a host of undead, known as who is said to be called the Middle Finger. Wait, no, that one was the ring finger. Right? Hold on. Those are all these people. This was when the party kind of basically got introduced to all the big bad guys. Yeah, no, they were the Middle Finger. They see the orcs, led by none other than the aforementioned Turge the Wise, referred to as the Ring Finger. And they see a bunch of Warforged, led by this massive and very spiky Warforged, referred to as the Index. And leading them is an individual with albino features and a strange resemblance to Dash that is referred to as Rai, the leader of the Witch's Hand, as the party learns that this group calls themselves. The party is called out by the martyr, who reveals that this organization is looking for not only Dash's ring, but other rings held by siblings of Rai. At which point, the party begins to speculate that Dash is one of these siblings, and if what Rai says is true, they are children. Rai, Dash, and their other siblings are the children of the Witch Queen. The party negotiates with the group. Ragnar manages to deceive Rai, or at least seemingly deceive him, that they will return to New Hope, retrieve the ring for the group, and in exchange, Rai will decipher the runes on the note left for Ragnar. Meanwhile, Rob speaks with Turge the Wise, who reveals that he was the one who killed his father in order to take over the tribe, as he did not agree with the tribe allying with the nation of Odiah and wanted to go back to the orcs' warlike ways of the past. Rob, being a cleric and man of order, manages to restrain his anger and does not pick a fight with Turge at this time, knowing that it would not be in the party's best interest. The party reconvenes, being allowed to leave the fort under this fake alliance that they managed to form with Rai. And they travel across the frontier and discuss their findings. The party is a bit hard-pressed to decide if they should inform the Recreation Guild about their findings here. And this is kind of a hot topic of discussion throughout the rest of the trip, as even now they are unsure if they should keep this to themselves or tell people about what they discovered. The party, however, must decide quick, as when they arrive back at the city of New Hope, they see that the walls are under attack once more. This time, not by people, but by a Hydra. The Hydra, with a massive size, the likes of which the party has never seen. And that is where the story ends for the time being. So the party will actually be meeting up again today. So what I think I'll do is kind of with this is I'll be running after every couple sessions. I'll do another story time like this, which just gives sort of the synopsis of their adventures, as well as possibly some other D&D adventures. I'm excited to see how they handle this Hydra attack. It's going to be quite interesting. It's not really your standard Hydra. It's actually a much larger one that was introduced in another one of the adventuring books, Mythic Odysseys of Pharos, which as far as this adventure goes, the main books I'm kind of using as supplements. Honestly, a lot of newer books. Eberron Guide for sort of the different dragon marked houses. Bone Hydra? No, not a Bone Hydra. Not a Bone Hydra. It's called an Iron Scale Hydra. I just noticed, I don't think I have my chat box too low down in the list here, so you can't actually see it above all my decorations in the room. There we go. You should be able to see it now. Yeah, so it's called an Iron Scale Hydra. It's like this big body wipe. I hope not. I like these characters, and it's going to be a bit of a pain to, to introduce this new group of characters who now don't know any of the cool and interesting stuff the party has discovered at this point. It's gonna be a real pain. So I hope they don't die. Like, this is one of those campaigns where I really don't want the party to die. No, I don't want them to die. I want them to win. Don't die, guys. I want you to live. I want you to beat the Hydra. I want you to find some cool stuff. It's kind of a high magic campaign, so I'm going to be introducing a lot of magic items, including some things that they might get from the Hydra. Kill two, but then I gotta pick which two. It's like picking your favorite. I don't want to pick favorites. They're so cool. It's honestly some of the better characters that I've seen these guys make. I like them a lot. Rob is like, your good boy's son, but he's a half orc, so it's like kind of different, It's not this big angry dude. It's just like best son half orc. Why am I all twitchy? I keep like doing this weird shortest straw. Hey, if they die, they die. Like, don't get me wrong. Well, the dice roll. That's the game. The party knows what they're getting into when they deal with these sorts of things. So adventurers, when they wander into a dungeon, they know they could die. And that's what I do. I build dungeons. They want dungeons, I give them dungeons. They want danger, I give it to them. They reap what they sow. Don't get me wrong. But I would sure like them to win. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. So what I was saying? Creep ahead. Where'd you get that? Yeah, that's what. Oh yeah, I was saying like what supplements I'm using. So other than like your standard, like Player Handbook, Dungeon Master Guide, Monster Manual, the main supplement books I'm using is the Eberron book for the sort of the magic items and dragon marked houses, which kind of take the place of all the nobility and stuff across the land. As well as kind of basically some homebrewed grace dragon marks that I refer to in the setting as graces. Which I forgot to mention, the Martyr actually had one that was called the Grace of the Martyr. And basically, anytime he died, because he was cursed with immortality and can revive in 24 hours, whenever he dies, he basically gives all of his allies a status boost, where they get some temporary hit points as well as advantage on certain rolls. Which is why he would receive the name the Martyr. I forgot to mention what the Martyr did. So the Martyr is like, as he's still standing, I actually planned on him being defeated by the party pretty early on, but as they kind of freed him from prison and all, he'll definitely be more of a recurring villain now, possibly even sort of a main adversary for the party at this point, as they've certainly ticked him off, besting him twice and all. So he is a tiefling from Madiah, formerly a soldier, as I mentioned, but he betrayed Madiah to go serve the Witch Queen. This particular tiefling actually has horns, or I guess antlers, like a deer would be what I'd say. And he was seeming to have the habit of not really trimming them, and the size of the horns seemingly resets whenever he dies, as when they first met him, they were like these massive gnarled horns. But after Ragnar killed him, they are now very small as they begin to grow once again. So I'm interested to see how the rivalry with this character advances over time. As well as what they're going to do about Dash. During the discussions about this character in particular. They were talking about possibly even just taking her and just running away with her somewhere to keep her away from the witch's hand. But of course, they have to try to just. At which point they will need to kind of try to explain to this actual child who can barely speak common, not because she's that young, but because if it's in common, just isn't her first language, and they've yet to find a language that they both speak. But yeah, they gotta explain to her that, hey, we're leaving this city, and you're coming with us. So I'm just see. There's a lot of stuff that the party could be doing. I'm very excited to see what they do. I really love this game and just seeing people go off. Really, when they go off script, I love it. I love when they just do the unexpected, you know? It's one of my favorite parts of this game is being able to just do something that no one even thought of. Which is why I like to Dungeon Master. I also like to play, of course, don't get me wrong. I'm an adventurer myself as well, not just a dungeon master. But yeah. Yeah, I think that'll about do it for this story time, unless there's any comments, questions, concerns. No? Nope. I'll give it a minute or two. I see we got my buddy Nick in the chat. He's been watching. It'd be nice if I had some music for this screen, huh? I should see about getting like a BGM of some sort. You know, it was only... I was here. Yeah, no, I know you're here. I said that. I said you were here. He's right here, guys. You see? Woo, he's right here. Oh. My mouse shows up as over there. There he is. That's all. Yeah, that's all, folks. But yeah, I should think about getting like some music for this screen so it's not quite so quiet, because I want to do some more of these sort of story time things. This was basically the synopsis of 6 sessions worth of gameplay. I kind of cut out all the fat as the party whenever they're in the city. No, like, I was here when it happened. I don't. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Why am I twitchy? Why am I still twitchy? Is something wrong with my camera? It's weird. The camera's being weird. But I guess. So yeah, so basically I let a couple sessions build up, so I got some more material to talk about, and then we'll do another little story like this. I don't. So yeah. So I guess I'll just leave it here for now. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you next time. And wish you guys safe travels. Bye.